Final day of the 1980 Australian Open at the Lakes Golf Club in Sydney, and Brian Jones has led from the start. But the leaderboard shows that there are quite a few with a chance going into the last round. In the final groups, only Graham Marsh dropped out of contention early. We stay with the main contenders, and firstly, Seve Ballesteros and John Schroeder.
Back to the first tee, and Seve Ballesteros. Now, he's going to give it a go today, I bet you. Well, he gave that a nice smooth swing. Now, I hope he's missed that bunker for his sake. Yes, he has, right across the corner of the lake and in the ideal position. I'm not too sure the nearer you get to this green, the easier the shot into it. But look at this swing of Ballesteros. Going to see a lot of this today. Beautiful balance. Sometimes the young fella hits at it a bit too hard, but that was very smooth and powerful.
A big hand for John Schroeder.
Now, this man can play a bit. He's got lots of little funny mannerisms. Places his hands very carefully on the club, using contact lenses. Well, they like it, and I'm sure Schroeder will too. Ballesteros, and I'm sure he will really be going at everything today. Being second really doesn't mean too much to this young fella. He had his chances yesterday, as indeed did many other players. Let it slip through his fingers. Now I reckon he'll be going 101% today. Now, that's not a bad start. That is not too shabby, ladies and gentlemen. Now John Schroeder. Very slow, deliberate swing. Cries of get up, get up, get up, and it did. Oh, well.
The Open champion in 1977, David Graham, we're on the first tee at the moment. David, that putter seemed to let you down yesterday.
It turned a little bit sour, Gordon. I putted exceptionally well on Friday, and then putted well the front side yesterday too. I made 2 or 3 birdies, and then on the back nine, I missed a few putts that I should have made, but I haven't blown myself out of the tournament, which is nice to know.
There's not a lot of wind about at the moment. What are you predicting this afternoon?
Well, I don't know what the weather forecast is. I know that we're going to see a tremendously exciting finish. There's about 6 or 7 players, I think, that have a chance to win, and I think that it'll come right down to the wire.
And that's in, just tippled in, and Schroeder starts with a very smooth birdie 3. And now Seve with this little tap in for his birdie 3. The one he missed, the 18th, was only about twice as long as that last night. What a good start for him.
And there's Greg Norman. He's not flirting with that trap. He's obviously taking his one iron to play safe. It's a wonderful opportunity. 3-putt of the last green to miss a tie last year. Jack Newton. He'll be working so hard today. His iron play has improved tremendously in the last year. High, steady backswing, good tempo. Not too many claps there, though. We'll have to wait and see where this one finishes. Maybe just a little bit too cautious.
Build up.
And Bill really has had a tremendous season this season. Evergreen. And holds so many course records, he's probably forgotten how many. "41-year-old Billy Dunk from Gosford. First tee, final round." He's hit the ball so steady, particularly with his driver and fairway whips. If Bill gets a share of putts, my goodness, he'll be there when the whips are cracking. Could be the 3-wood. That ball looked to be teed fairly low. Every movement David makes is absolutely calculated. Yes, he's driving with his spoon at the first. It's teed low, shallow block. Very deliberate. Well, the gallery loved that, and David didn't look too concerned. And there's his drive, right alongside that trap, an absolutely perfect position.
I feel pretty good, yeah. You know, it's going to be an interesting day. There's a lot of good players up there. So, you know, I think you'll see the tournament coming down to the last hole again like it did last year, unless one of us gets out to a hot start.
Is it all-out attack from your point of view?
Out of tact?
All-out attack.
Oh, yeah, all-out attack. Yeah, for sure. It's got to be that way if you want to win a golf tournament. You can't play defensive.
His second shot here, Brian, if he just pushes it a touch down the right-hand side, there are bunkers to the right and behind the flag. So again, if you're playing golf like a game of chess, you've got to sum up all these situations, and I would suggest that if he could place his ball, it would be as close, obviously, as he could possibly get it to the left side of the flag. You can see at the end there the patches of sand.
Yes, that would be the percentage shot, Peter, to keep the ball a little left of the flag. And if you do happen to make an error either right or left when you're aiming there, you're going to finish at the stick or green centre. Well, his stance is set a little bit to the left. And Greg takes the club straight back up and loops slightly back on the inside. Well, he's played it down that line, but stopped. Whoa. He played a gentle wedge, whereas he could certainly reach it with a full sand iron, but he elected to play that little wedge, and that was exactly the line we were talking about him playing on, and he had the percentage of error either side. Billy Dunk, it's just about all of his shots with just a tweak of right to left.
He could be the surprise package, or that's the wrong thing to call a man of his caliber a surprise package, but if the others slip, I don't think Bill will be far away. He doesn't make too many silly errors.
Oh, if he can get that blade going, and he can be brilliant, this man. Started it pretty much on line. Come on, be good. Now, if we could have only mixed those two shots up, but there you are. Bill Dunk would have loved that in the air, going right at the stick. It's a great shot, Billy. Bad luck it pulled up so quickly. Pitching wedge for David Graham. He's hit it firmly and crisply. Looks to be a little to the right. Oh, yes, it was right and strong. So he's obviously just pushed that enough to fly a little bit long enough to the right-hand side. Third shot of the first for Greg Norman. Over to the right a bit. Come on, over you get. Oh, good touch. Very good touch. Didn't quite read the line, but great. It's easy for us up here because we've seen so many shots come down there. Third shot of the first for Dave Graham. Got the face laid way open. Little soft trap shot. Right. Good shot, just a fraction firm, but good. 1.5 meters. Billy Dunk birdie putt at the first. Nice little wrist action. You watch the hand action when Bill makes this putt. A little bit of wrist bend and a nice sharp little tap. Not a stiff action at all. There it is, yep. Come on and bend. Oh, good try, Bill. Yes, he can't believe it. Shouldn't have bent the shade more. David Graham, starting at square, has this putt to stay that way, and 4 shots off the leader, who's yet to hit off Brian Jones. Critical putt. Must get this to stay in contention. Oh yes, just leaked away a pitch to the right, and he's very thankful for that one. Obviously that extra hour of practice has done him some good. Power putt for Greg Norman at the first. Good boy. Stays 2 under for the championship. This is his par. You saw Greg's line, so there's no doubt about the line. It's just making a good stroke. Good boy. Plumb in the middle.
Brian Jones.
Well, is this going to be the most tremendous day in this man's life? Down the right, and okay. Now Roger Stevens, 2 under. Oh, cries of no.
Well, this is a very big day for you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, actually. It's great to be leading the Australian Open going into the last round. Hope I can make the same comment this afternoon when I finish.
Where's your Japanese wife, Chico, and young 3-year-old son?
They're in the hotel just resting. They'll come out later on, I guess.
Back to the first. There's Roger Stevens. And, well, I don't know whether Jim Maxwell has a report for us.
Well, Roger Stevens went out to the left, and he's near a tree over there. I think they're trying to find a stake in the tree to see if he can get some relief, but he's quite close to that tree, and I think he'll have a swing at it, but he's going to be right in that thick kikuyu and mixture of grass, and he's dropped it, so he must have been right into that tree, and I don't think he got any relief from that. That tree doesn't appear to be staked, and so that's a penalty.
Greg Norman at the second tee, and really crunching one down the middle, and that's up over the slope, up the rise, and that is a monster hit by Greg Norman. Bill Dunk will be a long way shorter. Tail breeze at the second today, but still not a lot of birdies here. Starting it out to the right-hand side and landing dead centre. That's just about at the bottom of the rise, and it would be 50 metres shorter than Greg Norman. And David Graham, whom you'd think would be somewhere in between. But as we saw with Jack Newton before, he can get into some trouble if you miss the fairway. Jack had to hit over trees and still saved his par. Oh, that's perfect. It's also a big hit, and it bounces just on the upslope and comes over the top, and that would be about the 3rd longest hit off this tee today.
And that was another little anxious prod. Certainly the swing looked a little bit rickety. The line was good. he's in more trouble. Now Brian Jones, second shot to the first. Championship leader. That's a good one.
Bill Dunk with his second shot at the second hole, 170 metres from the green, and going with a 5-iron. Looks good. Now David Graham from 140 metres out, approaching the second green. Took a big kick at the front of the green and up to the back.
Stevens at the first, fourth shot. And what a beauty. Oh, that's marvellous. That will have done him a lot of good. Well, we're having news in my headphones that, in fact, the new supporters of Roger Stevens will be over the moon, that there was no penalty at the first. That tree had a stake on it, so relieved Roger Stevens gets his 4.
Greg Norman only 120 metres short of the green with a big drive. Chance here for Greg to pick up a birdie. That's right at the flag.
And here's Brian Jones with a holeable putt for a birdie. First hole. And what a cheer if this goes in. Looking good. No, that was a beautiful try. Well, both your young fellows, Peter Thompson, have made different starts, but both have got pars tucked away safely.
Well, the head up a little early, but almost in. Now, in his day, he's held many a putt of this length. We'll see if it's still with him. Well, not quite enough, was it? He perhaps judged it to be a bit faster than it was, but in the event it didn't turn in. So that's a par for Dunk. Good solid start. 2 pars. Now this could be the beginning of perhaps a winning run. I know that's what he has in mind, this fellow. Marvellous drive here, 280 metres or more. And then what looked to be a very lofted short iron to this point. Now this putt to cap it off. Well, he always seems to make hard work of these simple, straightforward putts. Yes, in the middle. Well, that's sent his fans into raptures. 3 under now, Greg Norman.
Yeah, that was a very big putt, Peter, wasn't it? And with the par 5 coming up, if he could just sneak in, he really could surge away now. But so could lots of others.
So this is a putt for par for David Graham. still on that one, and that's pretty steady 4 also. 2 pars for Graham.
Let's now take a check of the championship standing. Brian Jones has played 1 hole in his final round, is 4 under. He now has a 1-stroke lead over Greg Norman. Roger Stevens is 2 behind, Bill Dunk 3 behind, and at even par 4 from the lead, David Graham, Graham Marsh and Seve Ballesteros.
Now, Seve Ballesteros started off with a beautiful birdie at the first, absolutely superb, and then he's just held even par from there on. Doesn't complain much, but apparently does have quite a lot of back trouble, Seve Ballesteros, and has had for the last year or so. He's known in pro circles as the $10 million man. $10 million for 10 years. What a contract. But what charisma this man has too. What a mature 23-year-old, Seve Ballesteros. Yes, 1 club more needed also to be right to the stick. A clap, they can't see the ball yet, but he knows there's no roar of applause, so having a move with the caddy assured was a 7-iron, 8-iron. 1 more needed. Green is set obliquely across the players, a tricky little par 3, and requires a very well-placed tee shot, and if you miss the screen you can be left with some very awkward little approaches. It's uphill, par 3. Long birdie putt for Seve Ballesteros at the 7th. About 14 to 15 metres, uphill. Good-looking putt. Oh. Now that was absolutely robbed. Oh, that look of resignation tells the story. Not my day, says Sev. It's strange to see a lot of that with the big ball. Since the advent of the 168 ball, we see a lot more of these horseshoes happening rather than when the small ball was in vogue, but that's not to be, that's all history. Everybody's playing the same ammunition these days. Bad luck, Sevi. Beautiful putt.
Norman birdied the 3rd and 4th, Jones birdied the 3rd. That put them both at 5 under, well clear of Stevens, Duncan, Graham at 1 under, with Ballesteros even.
Now this is a shot, as we explained a while ago, uphill, so that the green, being flat, is out of their sight. They can see the flag, of course, and they know by maps and papers that have been given them exactly where the hole is on the green. Just a pitch. Number 7. A good rangefinder for Norman. Consultation with caddy Gilmore. And the choice is number 8. 140 metres, this one. The wind helping, but also blowing left to right. I always get the worry that this fellow's going to hit one so hard it's going to clear everything and go over the back. Does it quite often. Spin on it, and just as well, it was almost in that stand there. Well, they're 2 fine shots. Oh, that's a good one. That's the best of the 3. Well done, Billy Dunn.
4th shot of the 8th hole. Oh, well, you can't do any more and keep the ball out. Like that last green, it's not going to be your day, I don't think so. 2 beautiful putts that just failed to drop.
David Graham first. Low side.
Well, my spies out on the course have advised me that Brian Jones has had another birdie at the 5th hole, so he's back outright championship leader.
Here's a chance on the 7th to catch Jones. Jones playing a hole or so behind him. That could be it, could be it. It is.
Gotcha.
6 under. And so far this round, he is 4 under par after 7 holes. Well, that is what you might call a charge. Dunk is sharing 3rd place with Roger Stevens and David Graham. Well, I thought for a moment that it turned on the cup. Perhaps it did touch the edge. Well, that's disappointment. Good putt. And a 3 for Graham.
Championship lead now shared by Brian Jones and Greg Norman at 6 under par. 1 under, we have Dunk and Graham. At even par, Stevens, Ballesteros and Schroeder.
Now, equal championship leader Brian Jones at the 7th, 140 metres, par 3. At this stage is certainly showing no signs of tension. Looks like about the same stick. The right club, he's got it at the stick, that's what he's saying. Whoa. That was not the right club. You could hear what Brian said, be the right club. He knew it so well.
Greg Norman's 2nd shot at this 8th hole was a 1-iron to the right of the fairway, and this is now his 3rd shot. Approaching from about 110 metres from the green, the pin right in the back today. And tossing it very high in the air. And they like it. I think Greg will like it too.
Well, an indifferent shot from Brian, but he obviously elected to play the percentage shot and make sure he got onto the green. That was not an easy one. And you see this happen quite often. Fellows look to finesse for the flag and not quite enough, and they just trickle back into the bunker. Now, that was not going to happen, so the worst he'll take is 4, and he's putting well, so he'll still have a chance for 3.
Now, Billy Dunk, who drove down the middle and played a fairway wood, just ran off the cut part of the fairway. He didn't like getting in there either. Similar distance to Greg Norman. But these top players, most of them getting it very close for birdie chances. Well, all chances here.
Back at the 7th, Brian Jones, this putt for 3 at the par 3 7th. Very critical to retain the lead with Greg Norman. Oh, what a lumpy jump they got. Come on, come on.
Now, don't steer it, Greg Norman. Hit it.
Bogeys will happen. They'll happen to everybody. It's pretty easy sitting here saying that, but when you're doing it, it's pretty hard to take.
Now, Billy Dunk's birdie putt on the same hole. Down, down. Good on you, Bill. That's 2 under and lifts him a little nearer to the lead. He's not out of it either. This is for par 5. So he remains championship leader and 6 under par.
Par putt for Seve Ballesteros at the 9th. Not your day, Sev. Not to be.
And it was just not to be Sevy's day. Later on at the 12th, he put 3 balls out of bounds off the tee to drop right out of calculations. Norman, Graham and Dunk all got their pars at the 9th, and so did Jones and Stevens at the 8th. Norman had an outward 9 of 32 to be outright leader at the halfway mark, but Jones fought back with 2 great shots at the 9th.
Just how solidly can he hit it? He should be playing to the centre of the green, really. Pretty tight pin placement back here on the short front right. Well, quite a few people like that one. Oh, sprinkle of a fourth. That's a brilliant shot. Birdie putt for Brian Jones at the 9th. Get yourself in. Oh, you beauty. Good boy, Jonesy. Now we've really got a fight in our hands. That's tremendous.
With 9 holes to play, Jones rejoined Norman in the lead at 6 under, 4 ahead of Billy Dunk, with Graham and Stevens 1 shot further back. It was at this stage that Dunk ran into trouble. The par 4 10th has a lake on one side and the practice fairway on the other. Dunk wildly hooked his second shot onto the practice fairway. After much searching for the ball among hundreds of practice balls and getting advice on local rules, he found he was out of bounds and had to go back and play another shot. He wound up taking a disastrous 8, and he too dropped out of contention. The long delay held up the group behind and may have contributed to Jones making bogey on this hole. Norman and Graham made their pars and moved on to the 11th, a long par 5 curving around the edge of the lake.
Well, that was a bit wayward, surely. Now that's 50 yards. Have it in meters, centimeters, kilometers, whatever you like. That was dreadful, really. Now David Graham. Easier pace through the ball. More control and up the fairway.
Greg Norman, now the outright leader, as Brian Jones has taken a bogey 5 at the 10th. So it's Norman leading by 1. David Graham and Roger Stevens, 1 under. John Schroeder is even.
Greg Norman's second shot at the 11th. Should be thinking about a 5 now, no worse. There you saw the loose sand fly. And well played. That's a good shot. Really dug in and leaves him a little pitch across the bay and up to the green. There you see the flag on the left side. Well protected today by those bunkers.
I'm Jones on the tee at the 11th. Oh yes, that's a long one too, but it's just kind of that thin rough on the left-hand side, but no trouble whatever.
Greg Norman's third shot. And now he must pack in all the experience he can muster. He's got to fly it over all those feathered varieties in front of the green who are peacefully having a late lunch. You can see the pin on the left, winds from the right, must aim it into the middle of the green, and he does, and it screws back, unlucky, just off the putting surface. David Graham lines up his pitch across the big bunker to a pin today just on the front quarter of the green. Safely done. Brian Jones second to the 11th. Jones keeping his rhythm going very well indeed. Greg Norman playing his 4th shot. Long putt. Unlucky. Pitched it well on the green, but it screwed back. And that's a good putt. And that's turning, but never hard enough. And the last few holes are going to be really demanding. Well, Norman gets his par 5 after a very wild drive. And on to the 12th. Now there's a little map of the 12th hole. The road running down the left-hand side, and trees on the left. Really, with the wind against now at the 12th, it's a very formidable hole as Greg Norman sends one away. Gosh, he does hit at that ball so hard.
God damn it.
Well, that says it all, I think. Cracks away into the gallery, certainly missed the highway. But when you hit at the ball as hard as that, if you're not absolutely dead on, you're never quite sure where it goes. It's like trying to volley one in at soccer from 30 yards. It's like trying to smash a half volley. And there's Graham. And he also tries to bring one back. It looks as if it's sliding right.
Dummy.
You dummy.
Why get back to the ball?
Brian Jones, third shot at the 11th. 9-iron. Nice little pitch. Oh, you're worth more money, Jack. See, that is a great shot, little fella, and I think tonight you might even be that way. That's good. If he can make his birdie here and Greg Norman looks like being in trouble the next, still a tremendous finish is on in this championship.
Back to the 12th, and David Graham, as you can see, away in the rough. Second shot, ball well below his feet. And still in trouble, and a deal short of the green. And Norman's hit a wild drive at the last hole to the left, now a wild one to the right, and you can see the muckies in there. Not going to get this one out too far. Nice little punch forward. And on, but as you see, certainly you'd say 2 putts away. Greg Norman's third shot, 12th hole. Championship leader, 6 under. That's a good one, but again you see quite a long way from the hole.
Brian Jones, this putt for a birdie. In. Oh, Jonesy, you've done it, little fella. Great. That's tremendous. Now here's to 600, and Greg Norman is almost certain to drop a stroke at the next.
And that's a very good speed putt indeed from such a long range for David Graham. But he's going to drop a stroke to par and go back to level. That's a good putt also.
Brian Jones at the 12th. And this hole really is a monster this afternoon. 402 metres, uphill, out of bounds left. Tight driving hole. Look at that one of Brian's. Absolutely plumb in the box position.
Now, our leader, having resumed his lead, he lost it and has regained it. But he must pass this hole because Norman has already. Well, there you are. There's two of his mightiest hits, and he hasn't reached it.
Greg Norman, tee shot, down the 13th. And applause. Gets rid of the seagulls, and there it is, plumb in the centre. Fine drive. Now David Graham. And just okay.
Brian Jones with that turnaround at the last hole that both he and Greg Norman played is back in the championship lead at 6 under. Norman 1 behind at 5 under. Roger Stevens now outright third at 1 under par. David Graham is even.
And that's a little bold.
Check again, Dorian, I've lost him.
Yeah, well, there you see, just a little misjudgment of distance. Norman not threatening a birdie here.
30-40 metre pitch. And run. Oh, that's good. Come on.
He's run it a little out.
Now, Brian Jones, who could have had 2 putts while Greg Norman was having 1, but he missed, and so he takes 5.
Yes, safely done.
The lead is tied again, while David Graham and Roger Stevens swap places as Graham made his birdie on 13 and Stevens bogeyed 12.
Now David Graham. Looks okay. Beautiful drive. Bisects the fairway, and there it is, bumbling along. A magnificent shot from David Graham, right down towards the seagulls. Perfect position on the fairway.
Terry Gowd and Greg Nardi now. Brian is 1 over, straight out, even.
And it looks a good tee shot too. Right down the fairway, look at that. Excellent position, a beautiful long iron shot from Greg Norman. He can attack the flag, but as you'll see when the players get down here, the flag is tucked on the left-hand side, and we'll have a look at it as they come down to play their second shots at this attacking par 5 14th.
Well, there it is. You can see how all the water goes down the left-hand side, and this really is a very controversial hole. That's the shot, you see, that you've got to face, whether you like it or not. Across the water, and it really is very formidable indeed.
Now, has he got the line and the accuracy? It's gone into the trap, into the bunker. That wind coming across from left to right as Graham looks at the hole. Now he's pushed that out towards the right, I think. Yes. And it's on the green. What a fine shot. He didn't like the look of it as he hit it, but he's come out of it reasonably well on the putting surface.
Not many holes to play in the championship now, and the lead shared by Jones and Norman at 5 under. David Graham, chance for an eagle at the 14th here, is 1 under. Stevens and Schroeder even.
The 14th tee. Jones and Stevens both made par on 13.
And there's Jones's tee shot at the 14th. He's pushed it out a little to the right, but it's on the fairway and just hugging the right-hand side of the fairway as it comes along now and drifts back towards the centre. Good position for Brian Jones.
Norman at the 14th just flips one out and does it very sweetly indeed. And that looks like a certain birdie for 14th. And, well, should get his birdie for.
Now Roger Stevens, 14th tee. Wind behind him. He'd love a birdie here. Now, has he got it straight? Yes, just down left-hand side towards that bunker, but an excellent position, Roger Stevens there, and he too can attack the pin from there, although it's a tight shot.
Yep, safely done, 2 under. That's good 4 from Greg Norman. Leader again on his own, 6 under par.
Now, has he got it? It's gone out to the right a fraction. Yes, and through the green into the bunker at the back.
15th tee, this long short hole. Wind fairly whipping across right to left today. There's the diagram. You can see the tee on the left. The wind's coming from the bottom of your screens across the green to that water behind and to the left of this 15th green. You can see pin tucked into the corner. Club selection all important. And will it hold? No. He'll set that off way right. No, that was just a bash out to the right, hoping it would come in, and you can see how that pin is protected today.
Now, Roger Stevens, still on the 14th, and this is his second shot. Across the water and all those rushes. Now, where's that? Oh, sensation! My word, what a shot that is. Well,
it was almost the shot of the week, Peter, wasn't it?
Well, this is a par 5, so if he gets down in 2, he adds a birdie to his score of 5 under. But catch Norman. Very smoothly played. Oh, there it is. Well, oh! Well, I don't know. That might have been the shot of the week.
Well, we're seeing a few shots of the week. I think it's great. It really is marvellous to see Brian Jones here, who, by the class of some of these players in the field, is inexperienced. Greg Norman now, second shot at the 15th, and looks to be a little awkward. And you can see how the layer cake type of bunker, that's a touch of old Melbourne there, the way that's sheared off. And this could be very difficult indeed. Oh, he played it well, did the best he could, but it squirted by. And so, what price, Mr. Jones? Really good race at the moment. And David Graham lurking in the background should disaster strike anybody. Second shot at the 15th. Little stab checks and runs, checks and runs. That's very good.
Now this putt for an eagle 3 from Roger Stevens, and oh alas, it did not turn. He clearly putted in that direction. Well, that's a birdie, and a very welcome one too for him. Back in the red. Now Brian Jones, and this for a birdie. And he got it. So now he goes back to 6 under where he was a few holes ago. And he joins Greg Norman as joint leader of the championship.
And here's Norman at the 15th, surveying his long putt. What a good putt. Well, it's a 4. Norman drops back. And as I turn my head and look at our scoreboard, it clicks up that he's dropped. There it is. I think it's fantastic. Well done, gentlemen. Now, David Graham. Safely done.
Now here's Jones faced with the same problem, an examination that Norman just went through. This is a very difficult par 3. 190 metres crosswind.
Sit down.
Now that's headed for the same trap. Oh, now that's not a good spot because that is hanging on the downslope. Well, Norman got one of those on the opposite side of the green. Perhaps that's fair enough.
Nick Norman at the 16th.
Through there, Brian. And he started that out low and slightly left. Breeze taking it back towards the centre of the fairway. Oh, he's carried the rise beautifully. That's a magnificent drive by Greg Norman.
And here is a very critical shot indeed for Brian Jones. Now that is, well, a stroke of bad luck to get a lie like that. Now the tee shot was quite a good one. Bounced off the green. Well, he played a marvellous bunker shot at the previous green. Let's see what this one is. If he gets anywhere near, it's a classic shot. That might come back, will it? No, it didn't.
Greg Norman, after a great drive, going with about a 3-iron. Breeze slightly into his face and savagely left to right. And he started that out left, fading it up to the flag. And it just stays on.
Now, minding his own business, but important business it is. Brian Jones, this putt for a par. Now, speed's the main thing here. Don't rush at it. Well, I didn't give him much chance of holding it anyway, but in the event he wasn't strong enough, but it was offline. Well, that's a 4. The same thing happened to him yesterday on this hole.
There's the scoreboard, showing now Jones and Norman tied. David Graham, 3 strokes behind, 2 under. Roger Stevens right there. Greg Norman aiming way left, just off the green at the 16th. Oh, well now, well now, well now.
Brian Jones now at the tee. Perhaps the marshal distracting him there. That's straight. Breeze getting hold of it towards the end, and it might just run off the fairway. No, it'll just stay on.
A very crucial putt for Greg Norman at the 16th. There. Good putt.
Brian Jones playing the 16th, 5 under. Greg Norman now has only 2 holes to play in this Dunhill Australian Open Championship. He is also 5 under. David Graham 2 under.
Greg Norman at the 17th.
Yes. Strong tee shot from Greg Norman, and it's just stopping in the rough. I think it's trickling down into the rough towards the water, but it's just stopped short of the water, but it's gone a little longer than he wanted. So Greg Norman, very close to the water, a difficult shot. The pin is on the left, right over the bunkers as he looks at it. And he started it well. Can he bring it back towards the pin? Oh, what a shot, but it's too strong and it's gone through the back of the green.
Now Brian Jones having a good look at this putt. Well, he started a long one here yesterday in reverse of this putt, as it was, but this is the time to do it again. But the main thing is to lay it dead. Is it enough? Is it enough? Is it enough? No, it's not.
This is Norman from well through the 17th green. You can see he's got a very lofted club, so he's going to throw this one back up into this crosswind. Third shot. And just staggers barely to the edge of the green.
No, he went at it a little too quickly there. It wasn't a smooth stroke. A little jerk pull to the left and he slips back to 4.
And the board has already picked that up, which shows us that Norman is back in the championship lead, but he has his problems, of course, at the 17th.
Oh, that was a little tentative one. There's still a twitcher left for a 5.
Now, at the other end of this hole, this is Roger Stevens' tee shot. Now, remember here, they must not hit too far, lest they run out of fairway and end up in the drink. Well, I didn't wish him that.
Greg Norman for a 1 over par 5. And the 17th. If he holds this, he will be 4 under par for the championship. Well done. There it is on the board already. They're almost beating us to it.
Now, we'll see a vital shot in this championship. Brian Jones, tee shot at 17. And he got a word of commendation from Marsh, and there he is, safe on the fairway.
Well, the 18th tee, and here's David Graham. 2 strokes behind the leaders. Graham 2 under par. Wind cracking across left to right, and the pin dead center right at the back of the green. And that's going to be in the sand.
Jones going with a 4-wood. Breeze sweeping across the fairway. He's right on top of that island outcrop, and he's collected it fairly well. Hasn't got the distance. Looks good. It's bumbling up towards the green. So Roger Stevens, after that tee shot that was just too strong, now has, after taking a drop, this his third shot to the 17.
Tied for the lead if he can get a 3 here and set the target for Brian Jones. That's away. Let it go. It's in fact come out of its own pitch mark, but it leaves him a very awkward bunker shot indeed.
It's fairly straight. Oh, it took off though. Has it held onto the green?
Yes, it has, Jim. It's right on the back of the green. So, plenty of thrills in these final moments, but here is Brian Jones. Now, he knows, having looked at the scoreboard just the other side of this green, that he must get down in 2 from here. So this is a pitch and running shot. Is it enough? Is it enough? In fact, it's too much. Well, he'll have a very interesting putt there. There he lies in 3 on this par 4, 17th.
Greg Norman now with this crucial second shot at the 18th. A very difficult bunker shot indeed. Almost pitched it in the hole. Almost pitched in the hole, and he's gone 2.5 meters past
Roger Stevens, and this is for 4. Down the hill it goes. Oh, well done. What a 4.
And David Graham has got a little easier bunker shot than Greg Norman had. That's fierce. Stopped very quickly, but he's way past.
Now, here's a putt he may remember all his life. Brian Jones, this for 4 at the 71st hole. I was about to say that's in, but it's not in. Well, he showed no reaction to that, but I'm sure that that really hurt. As that was about to go in, it just turned enough to miss. Well, there it is. He's back to 3. My word, what tension this is.
Looking good, looking good. Ho, ho, ho. What a 3, and what wouldn't Greg Norman give to see his putt disappear like that? Norman with certainly a 2.5, almost 3 maybe, a meter putt for his par. Remember, should he miss this, and Brian Jones get a 3, it will be a tie. They will play off over holes 10, 11 and 18. What a putt. That's a great putt for Greg Norman. And isn't that nice to see? It's up there already.
Well, he always looks with disgust at some of those shots, but, well, he's way short, way short. He didn't get hold of that at all. Now, stranger things have happened, but here is the man with now a remote chance of winning this championship. First of all, he's got to force a tie, and to do that, he's got to get 2. Well, it's straight, it's on line. Come on now, slow down. Well, he's got a lot of courage, hasn't he? Well, there's the arithmetic being done carefully. Well, he's getting a tremendous cheer for courage, this fella. And he thoroughly deserves it. There's the scene, and what a magnificent picture that makes of golf at its best here in the Australian Open. So, now comes the moment for Jones.
We've seen some very brave shots today, I must say, and the putt of David Graham's on the last hole and then followed by that one of Greg Norman's was really tremendous as we settled to watch Brian Jones.
Well, his problem is that, of course, he must not go too boldly at this, because David Graham is sitting there waiting to grab second place from him. No, that wandered around. And that's the end. That's the losing stroke. And a lot of bad luck for him, because he really has fought tremendously hard. Showed a lot of courage. Stevens, putting for what will surely be fourth place. And that's a nice prize coming his way. Fourth prize is $8,930.25.
So, Greg Norman, how do you describe your feelings at the moment?
Oh, I'm a bit choked up, yeah.
That last putt was a bit longer than the one last year.
Yeah, I just had to, I was playing pretty good all day, and I was just concentrating hard, and the putts was what really got me going. I made a lot of good putts the front side, and I knew I had to make that putt. I didn't give a damn what anybody else was doing on 17 with the cheers, and once David held his, I had the line. It was a lot easier putt after I'd followed him, and it was just a matter of me hitting it at the right pace. And fortunate enough, I did do it, and I can honestly say I am very choked up at the moment, because I think this is the biggest tournament in my career.
What are you going to do tonight?
I'm going to relax. I tell you, I've had enough of golf for all this year, and to finish the year off the way I did, just made me feel great.
Last year, so close. This year, the champion, Greg Norman, 4 under par, total of 284 to win by 1 stroke from Brian Jones at 285. At 286, David Graham, and in 4th place, Roger Stevens from South Australia at even par.